Greetings, Earthlings! The rise of the Irken Empire is upon us, and we must act now, before Invader Zim returns to conquer Earth. I mean, he's not exactly the mightiest Irken Soldier, but you should still fear him. Fear him as you would fear Pustulio!
I love Pustulio.
And Pustulio loves you too.
The thing that I'm the most excited about regarding the return of Zim is to talk about fan theories in a show that went off the air over a decade ago. Zim is probably my all-time favorite cult classic cartoon, so let's get ready for Enter the Florpus together. I'm Whitney Van Laningham, and these are the coolest Invader Zim fan theories. Before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to our super nerd sponsor of the week, Cameron Hayek. Cameron is consistently one of the funniest people in our comments section, so watch out for his jokes next time you're reading through. Thanks to patrons like Cameron, we are able to keep the lights on here at NerdWire, and we'd really like it if you could donate too to help. If you want to become one of our patrons, go ahead and click the link in the description box to our Patreon. We have tons of different tiers that'll hopefully work for your budget, but hey man, if you're broke, don't worry. Me too. The best thing that you can do to get the word out about NerdWire is to like, share, and subscribe. Anyways, on to Invader Zim! Theory number 1. Invader Zim takes place in the post-apocalyptic world of Jimmy Neutron, and Dib grows up to be Buzz Lightyear. This show is ridiculous, so we might as well start off by discussing the weirdest fan theories first. Some Invader Zim fans believe that Invader Zim is a futuristic, post-apocalyptic version of Jimmy Neutron. This theory proposes that Jimmy grew up to work for the US government, developing advanced weapon technology. Okay, sure, maybe that's why No Secrets recorded that cover of Kids in America for the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius soundtrack. It was subliminal messaging that Jimmy would grow up to be a dangerous scientist for his country. Anyways, while he's working for the government, he creates technology to help defend the US in a nuclear war that destroys most of the planet. The radiation from the blast busts the ozone layer clean open, giving Earth that melancholy purple tint seen in Invader Zim. The agricultural industry collapses, leading to worldwide famine and depression. Oh, okay, so maybe that's where poop candy came from.
Then jack this box of Poop Cola candy. It's the great taste of Poop Cola wrapped in a layer of chocolate badness.
After some recovery, the world begins to rebuild over the ashes of Jimmy Neutron's destroyed world, giving you the version of our planet featured in Invader Zim. Schools, fast food restaurants, and houses are rebuilt, but everything is a little off. Let's take the reincarnation of Miss Fowl from Jimmy Neutron, for example. What if her husband died in the war, so she went back to her maiden name, Miss Bitters, and resumed teaching middle school in the post-apocalypse? You gotta admit, the characters do look pretty similar, albeit with totally different animation styles, voices, and personalities. But hey man, maybe the apocalypse changed her.
Zim, if you have something to say it now. Because after this moment, I don't want to hear another sound from you!
To tie the Irken Empire into this story, this theory also supposes that the Irken army was alerted to Earth's existence because of Jimmy Neutron's advanced technological weapons. They view the planet as completely useless due to the nuclear blast, but still send Zim to keep an eye on it, just in case Jimmy strikes again in outer space. I really don't buy this theory, but it's definitely nowhere near as ridiculous as the Dib Buzz Lightyear theory, which goes a little something like this. For some unknown reason, Zim ends up in a robot suit Darth Vader style, turning him into the evil Emperor Zurg. Gur's brain somehow gets split up between thousands of Zurg's hornets, which is why all of the hornets are so goddamn mindless. This means that Dib has to be Buzz Lightyear, because he's fighting Zim, who is Zurg.
Where is Dib?
None may pass! You are an intruder!
Where is Dib? Way down there!
That's it. That's the whole theory. I told you it was dumb. Theory 2. Irkens practice traumatic reproductive techniques. There's two main theories surrounding Irken reproductive systems, so let's cover both. The first is that Irkens reproduce in exactly the same way that the xenomorph XX121 species reproduces in the Alien series. You see, kids, when a face hugger loves you very, very much, he makes it his mission to lay eggs in your chest cavity, so that the third stage of its life cycle will begin. That's when the chest buster will make his appearance, breaking all of your ribs on the way out. It's pretty gross, but I would not put it past Jonan Vasquez to have that kind of gross, violent backstory to the Irken race's bloodline. It might also explain why there seem to be fewer female Irkens than male. Maybe all the women are dying off because they're forced to carry baby pipe bombs inside of themselves.
You blame me for your horrible life, blah blah, big deal!
This is about taking your mission, Zim, not revenge!
You're after revenge?
No! It's not about revenge!
Zim sort of confirms this theory in the episode Attack of the Saucer Morons, where he threatens to lay eggs in the stomach of the humans who find him.
Don't try anything on me or I'll lay eggs in your stomach. I mean it.
The second theory about Irken reproduction suggests that they actually reproduce orally, which doesn't sound that gross until you take a look at the anatomy of an Irken. Irken tongues are like longer, slimier earthworms mixed with one of those drain snakes that plumbers use to clear your garbage disposal. Irkens also seem to only have 3 major organs: a brain, a heart, and a squiggly spooch, which performs all bodily functions that the first 2 do not. So, it's safe to assume that this organ is somehow involved in reproduction, as it's literally the only organ in every Irken's torso. In an act that can only be described as super gross, what if the Irkens use their super long tongues to deposit the eggs into another Irken's torso? Or just use their tongues to jiggle the squeedly spooch into producing babies? Jonan Vasquez has outright said that Irkens don't have reproductive systems, but duh, the squeedly spooch isn't just a reproductive system, it's every organ squished together into one super organ!
You're a hideous blob of stolen organs.
I've been working out.
Theory number 3. Professor Membrane experimented on his children. This one actually seems pretty plausible. What if, 11 years before the start of the series, Dib's dad learned through time travel that 2 members of an alien race would come to destroy Earth in the coming decade? Thus, he created Dib and Gaz, 2 super intelligent, powerful children with skills that countered those of Zim and Tak. Think about it. Dib is crazy super smart, and Tak's powers don't even work on him because of how intelligent he is. He's a genius when it comes to computers, and the rest of his classmates can't even compete with him in academics because he's so far beyond their intelligence level. And regardless of what Vasquez says about Gaz not having any true superpowers, she's shown off her telekinesis, levitation, and pyrokinesis abilities in several episodes of the show. What if she was created specifically to take down Tak, the more powerful one, and Dib was created to take down Zim, the stupider one? Maybe Professor Membrane only created his children as a means to save the Earth, and Dib is so paranoid because he's been confronted with crazy supernatural things with zero explanation his whole life. His family pretends that he's just crazy when he says that there's aliens and Bigfoot and whatever else out there, but maybe that's because his dad is trying to hide the fact that he was made in a lab as a tool to save the world.
Dib has been chronicling the paranormal nearly all of his brief life.
Theory number 4. The Earth humans are stupid because we're viewing them through Zim's eyes. Let's face it, humans aren't portrayed very positively on this show.
I want my slaw!
You have your slaw, sir.
I want my slaw!
You have your slaw, sir.
From Chickenfoot to Poop Dog to the dumbasses at the school, humans aren't exactly the brightest crayons in the box, nor the cleanliest. Everything humans do is super exaggerated and gross, which is why it might be the case that every character on the show is viewed exclusively through Zim's eyes. Zim is hateful and fearful of human customs and ultimately hates the ununiformed reality of life on this planet. Maybe we as viewers are meant to experience Zim's world through his eyes. Or maybe Jonan Vasquez is just a sick son of a gun.
Word up, kids! This is Poop Dog, the Poop Cola Gangsta Clown with a little fundraiser.
Theory number 5. Zim is set 20 minutes into the future of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. This theory is actually pretty widely agreed upon by most diehard Zim fans, myself included. I think that Zim was set 20 minutes into the future of Jonan Vasquez's other comic series, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, Squee, and I Feel Sick. Not literally 20 minutes, but do you know what I mean? It's that thing where a reality is set in a future that looks pretty similar to another. The best example of this is the town of San Francisco in Big Hero 6. It still looks futuristic, but it also seems like it could be happening in the present day as well. Apply that to the world of Johnny, and 20 minutes later, you get Zim.
Hello, friends. I am a perfectly normal human worm baby. You have nothing, absolutely nothing to fear from me. Just pay no attention to me and we'll get along just fine.
Let's start with Squee bleeding over into Zim. The titular character of Vasquez's earlier comic series was actually featured in the original pilot of Zim. Vasquez thought about replacing Dib with Squee, but sadly, Nickelodeon refused to let him murder off a beloved children's cartoon character on their network, so he stayed in the background. But that doesn't mean that Dib's character didn't borrow a lot from his predecessor. Dib and Squee wear pretty much exactly the same meh smiley face t-shirt, which leads me to believe that they bought it at the same Hot Topic, which would mean that the two characters existed one right after the other. Both kids have super neglectful parents, but Squee's were definitely way worse. Nickelodeon probably also wouldn't allow the parents of one of their show's protagonists to flat out hate their offspring, so they made the membranes just as neglectful, but less horrible. Miss Bitters was also carried over from Squee, although she wasn't mentioned by name in that series. But the saddest thing about the 20 Minutes theory of Zim is that it would mean that Johnny C from JTHM most likely did die, instead of just hallucinating about it. If you haven't read that series, go do it, it's great. But basically, Johnny dies and goes to heaven, has a psychic brain exploding battle with the other angels, visits that lazy a-hole god, and takes a tour of hell with Senor Diablo. When he wakes up, he can't figure out if he died or if he just had another mental breakdown. If Miss Bitters is still a teacher, and Squee is a character showing up in the Zim universe, but Nee is mysteriously missing in action, pretty sure he's dead, bruh.
That was my squeezing arm. They took my squeezing arm! Why my squeezing arm?
Theory number 6. Zim secretly loves Earth and Dib. Duh, you guys! Zim's a big ol' softie! At least that's what this theory suggests. And it kinda makes sense. What if Zim has found a way to destroy the Earth, but purposely keeps failing because he secretly loves his life on our planet? For real though, Zim's earliest memory was receiving his pack and declaring his love for the cold, unfeeling robot arm that welcomed him into the world. I feel like he's been searching for someone to love and appreciate him from day one, and on Earth, he kinda has that. I mean, true, Dib is his arch nemesis, but when you zoom out, they're also 2 middle school students who don't have strong family lives. I'm sure that on some level, being able to fight with Dib and Gaz makes Zim feel like he has real siblings. Maybe his drive to destroy the Earth was initially fueled by the tallest refusal to believe in Zim and treat him like an equal Irken Soldier. Pretty much everyone on his home planet underestimates and disregards him. Gur is the only person in his life that shows him genuine affection and loyalty, and on some level, Dib constantly shows Zim that he respects him as an equal.
We don't have time for this, Dib. Your world might be in very great danger.
Well, yeah, you're trying to destroy the human race, remember?
Oh, yes.
If Dib thought Zim was just an idiot, he wouldn't have to fight so hard against him to protect the Earth. Zim probably feels like Dib takes him more seriously than the tallest do, which is why he refuses to actually make the moves he'd need to make to destroy him. Also, there's like an entire episode where Zim helps defend Earth from the Planet Jackers, and I know that he claimed he was only saving the planet so that the Planet Jackers wouldn't throw it into their dying sun as kindling, but I think he did it to save his friends.
It means we won't get to destroy it. Our mission will be a total failure. Imagine the Irken Armada showing up and the entire planet is missing.
Dib is literally the only being that Zim has ever been able to relate to. And like it or not, I think these guys would actually be great friends if they weren't so hell-bent on stopping each other.
The Earth is safe! I did it, Gur! Now let's go destroy it. Yay!
Theory number 7. Irkens are controlled by their packs. Okay, Irkens being controlled by their packs isn't a new or exciting concept. It's obvious to literally any viewer that the packs are essential to an Irken's life functions and that it partially controls their thoughts and movements. But let's talk about it real quick, just in case you haven't watched the show since like 2004.
Gur! Help me! There isn't much time. Yes, sir!
Long ago, the Irken race created the control brains to help them make both idiotically simple and actually complex decisions. As I mentioned before, there's no official backstory for Irken reproduction, but the comics and TV series seem to indicate that the control brains somehow mix and randomize Irken DNA, shove it into a test tube, and wait for a little smeat to form. After an unknown gestation period, a robot arm cracks the capsules, separating the smeat from the life-giving green fluid, and fuses a pack to the newborn Irken's spinal cord. At about 2 minutes old, the Smeets can already speak and are given a name, a personality, and all the knowledge they'll ever need to know about the Irken race. Their packs store the information so that their baby brains don't have to, and they're off. Unfortunately, Zim wasn't given enough data in his pack, so he's a special Irken. Each pack is outfitted with extra legs, weapons, charging cell, atmospheric processor, and an auto reset button that jolts the fallen Irken back to life if he or she dies or is wounded in battle. It also houses information about every single aspect of the Irken race: Irken history, Irken culture, Irken geography, etc. So basically, the pack is an auxiliary brain with an unlimited toolbox of ray guns, jetpacks, microscopes, and space helmets. Anyway, what if the packs don't just store information and act as a cool exoskeleton? What if they're actually a second brain, acting as a supplementary life force to the Irken's cranial brain? The proof? Irkens can only live 10 minutes without their packs. That's about how long a human brain can survive without oxygen before becoming fully vegetative.
Catch me! Bring the cruiser around and catch me!
Although the Irkens created the control brains as a judge, jury, and executioner for their people, the control brains have kind of completely taken over at this point, and the Irkens no longer have control over the supercomputer that they created. The tallest are essentially just figureheads in a constitutional monarchy run by basically Skynet. And that's why the control brains are so scary. They're capable of reprogramming each pack wearer's personality, controlling them, and even erasing all of their memories.
You will be re-encoded. No longer an invader.
But let's break this down a little. The Irkens created the control brains. So who created the Irkens and their packs? Because here's the thing, yo. Even alien races are born as organic life specimen. We know for a fact that Irken aren't born with a highly advanced supercomputer with Indiana Jones battle skills attached to it. So who invented the packs? Who thought to fuse the packs to Irken's spinal cords? Was there ever a point where the Irken could survive without their packs? Or was their entire species created in a lab by some other alien? I don't know, man, and maybe we'll never find out. Or maybe we'll get more clues about Irken origins and Enter the Florpus. Either way, I'm dying to know which of these theories you buy into. Are you Team Jimmy Neutron or Team Dib is Buzz Lightyear? Just kidding. Please don't tell me you buy into that garbage.
Can it protect you from damage?
For more fun videos like this one, like and subscribe to NerdWire, click to the left of my face for more videos, and I'll be back next week to ruin your childhood.